Okay, hello everybody. I'm Michael Richter. I'm the owner and managing partner of Goose Properties. And today I want to discuss in this video the Golden Goose Property. I'm going to tell you, the reason why I call this the Golden Goose Property, I'm going to get into that a little bit later. I've got some props to show you the dinner and the eggs, and I'll get into that, right? So back in 2007, I paid $261,000 for this property. It was my first house. It was meant to be a primary occupancy, or a principal residence, whatever you want to call it. I paid $261,000. That was back in 2007 in September. That went well. I waited a year and a half. It came up for construction. I closed on in April 2009. It only took, I think, about $45,000 at the time to put down. That's what I put down on the property to acquire a property like that. So these days, I mean, you're not even getting a condo for around here for something like that. I don't even know what you could get for that, actually. This property, yeah, it was in Milton, Ontario. That's where I purchased it. That was in my hometown. I lived in here for 4.5 years. And after 4.5 years, I met my lovely wife, who's my business partner. And we decided to buy our own house. We weren't going to stay in here. And the option was to sell it, which a lot of people told me to do. Hey, sell the property, buy a much bigger house. You can have 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, double car garage. You can buy new cars with all the equity in this. I would have been tempted to do that when I was in my early 20s, just because, you know, I was more drawn towards the consumer image and having everything else and worrying about how to impress people. But I realized at that point that if I didn't own an asset, if I didn't have income producing assets, if I didn't have something that was leveraged, that was appreciating on the market, I would always be in the rat race. And I'd always be working for somebody else. I'd never have really that stream of income coming in that I knew very little about, but I wanted to learn. So back then, guys, I knew nothing about investing. I didn't know anything about the YouTube videos. I didn't read any books. I'd been to like one crash course seminar, which actually got me into the whole real estate investing realm. That's a different story. But, you know, I didn't have the mentorship. I didn't have the real estate investment network. I didn't have the right club. I didn't have friends, family, a power team. I didn't have the education. I didn't have, oh my God, all the things that come with this, just the support groups, right? None of that was there, but you know what? I did it anyway because I wanted to get ahead. So back then, you know, it was the blind. We didn't even have an agent that knew how to do leases, right? But we did it, and it, you know, it was a learning curve, but it came together. But I'm so happy that I did that, because fast forwarding 5 years after we did that first lease, it's going to be 5 years at the end of the month. We will have made, I think, what was it, $260,000 on this property. That's just what it appreciated. But also, when it comes to this, remember, this is why we call it the Golden Goose. I also had $10,000 a year in mortgage pay down, okay? I also had roughly $200 a month in cash flow, okay? And out of all of that, okay, I took $155,000 against the home equity line of credit to purchase another property with 100% the money from this house that was covered by these tenants, and I paid about half of the deposit on my third investment property. So this property hasn't just given me money, but it's given birth to my other rental properties. So who says you need a ton of money to get into real estate, right? I just leveraged the money against this, and I had my tenants pay the mortgage, right? So we did that. So all in all, we've made $322,000. Well, minus, okay, I'm not gonna get into the whole breakdown of what we did to refresh this house and we put it back on the market, but we've made $322,000 since we deemed disposition and changed the use and made this a rental property 5 years ago. And best of all, right now, the reason why I'm standing in here is because my tenants have just left. They vacated, they bought their own property. So after 5 years, the rent value has gone up $450. So that's not bad. $100 a month, a year. I mean, that's not a bad return on rent. So that'll really help buffer my expenses, and that'll really put us into positive territory for cash flow. So the reason why I call this property the Golden Goose is because if you've ever read the story, a lot of people are tempted, and this is a story I get from a lot of veteran investors and a lot of people that says would've, could've, should've. It would have been tempting to sell this. It would have been tempting to flip the property and take the profit and pay off my new mortgage on the other property. It would have been tempted to do that. But if you look, I mean, you know, this is the dinner. This is, I mean, come on, I'm using my kids' stuff here. This isn't perfect, but this is this is the harvesting the golden goose, having a nice goose dinner, whatever you want to call it. This would represent the nice dinner, but I thought about the eggs. These are the golden eggs, and these come in the form of a check. Well, actually, an e-transfer every single month, and they come from in the form of equity appreciation, mortgage pay down, and other profit centers. And you know what? I'd rather take these eggs every single month because I don't need to sell this property to access the equity. I can simply refi. I can refi. I can do HELOCs. I can use the cash flow every month. I don't need to sell this. So I'm going to keep this property and have it for appreciation. But this is why I call it the Golden Goose property, because it's paying me now every single month in positive cash flow and good cash flow, and it's also giving birth to our other two properties, and it'll also give birth to other properties in the future using none of my own money, but using the money in this property that's right here that'll be covered by the tenants. So this is it. If you look, I mean, this is a nice property. We don't typically put fireplaces in here and bookshelves and custom surround, but this was in hardwood. This was my own primary residence, so I did do more upgrades than. I mean, come on, everybody goes through a stage. You want the nice house, everything. The bachelor pad. That's why I did this. But normally, to put a fireplace in a house in our area, it's not going to yield you more rent. Everything we do has to have a price advantage. It has to make sense. It has to have a return attached to it. So, I mean, doing all the paint, that was great because that attracts a higher profile of tenants. And having nice gardens, having landscaping, that'll attract nicer profile of tenants. But doing things like fancy gardens, upgrades. I mean, I've got strings of pot lights running along the ceiling. That doesn't make any sense in terms of a return. But I did it because it was for me. But I don't do this in my other properties. So that's the Golden Goose property, guys. If you have any questions, get in contact with me. I'd love to talk more about this, but I want to keep it short. I want to keep it to the point. And until next time, this is